I'm Eric Loy, and welcome to Eric Loy Interviews. On this podcast, we talk with folks from the VTuber community on their channels, their talents, their stories, where they come from, and their plans for the future. ZettaCrash joins us. Hi!
Hello there!
Please introduce yourself to everybody.
Well, as this podcast goes, I'm a VTuber, just a simple red fox, and I play games now and then. That's not really much to it.
When did you get started doing it?
I started about 2 years ago, but I suppose I didn't really get serious about it until more recently, maybe even 6 months ago.
Yeah? What got you involved? Why'd you get started in the first place?
Good question. It's mostly just, I don't know, kind of seeing other people do it.
Mhm.
And I've always just kind of had a penchant for playing games. Like, above all else, I really enjoy playing games, and the fact that, it's like, hey, you can play games and entertain people while you're at it. It's like, that doesn't sound too bad. I've done that for most of my life. Why not now?
So you've been somebody who's kind of been an entertainer?
Of sorts, yeah. At least in this particular regard. I mean, I can recant back to, was when I was back in high school, I would play games, and all my friends would just watch. So it's kind of like back when Twitch was just starting out,
Ah, okay. So you were the wizard everybody came to watch play.
Yeah, although it was, I don't know if it was so much I was the wizard. It was more like a lot of my friends enjoyed video games at the time,
Right.
And but you don't always want to play through every single game you come across. You may enjoy them, but it doesn't mean you have to go out and try everything. But
Right.
I was that person.
Well,
I do enjoy trying everything, so oftentimes I would play the most strangest games I could find, and they would watch me.
well, that's kind of what the VTuber thing is a lot, isn't it? A lot of these games people won't even play on their own, but they'll enjoy watching somebody else play it.
Yeah, and I can kind of relate, because sometimes you see, I mean, with how many games you see on Steam nowadays, it's like, how can you possibly play all of those games, right?
Oh, yeah.
So it helps that when someone else plays them, and you can just simply watch them.
Yeah, and you can use them to pick and choose whatever you want to play for sure, and go from there. But there's a lot of people who have so many games in their Steam closet as there is. There's no way they're going to get to all of them themselves. And,
I'm one of those people. I have so many Steam games, it's not even funny. I don't even remember how about I pick half of these ones up?
Were they on sale?
Probably. Most of them come from Humble Bundles, if you recall those. I don't know if they still do those, but I remember back when you'd pay like $50 for a Humble Bundle, and they're like, all right, here's 100 games.
Yeah.
Don't even know what they are.
And some of them ended up being pretty big games after that, really popular out of those bundles. You end up with some really good deals. Of course, some of the games were, one and done type things, but
I have to wonder if were they popular because of the Humble Bundle or vice versa?
I don't know. I think sooner or later games kind of take their own word of mouth and go from there, like a Stardew Valley type game where a guy does it by himself, and enough people start playing it, and it's word of mouth, and people watch it, and now, anybody who likes that sort of games has it, and has got, maybe not as many save files as I do, but has played it enough. And there's some other games like that.
Oh no, absolutely.
Yeah. So what type of games are you playing right now?
As of this moment, I mean, I'll play anything under the sun, as I mentioned previously. But as of right now, I suppose I'm just playing Valheim? Playing a survival craft game. Those have always been kind of like my soft spot.
Well, yeah, those games are interesting to me. I haven't played a lot of them, but some of them seem like they'd be really frustrating to me. You get to the point.
It can be, yeah.
Get to the point, and then you die, and then you lose everything, and start over again. That would be really tough for me.
It is. It's less on the. I suppose I focus less on the survival aspect, more just the vibing aspect. You just go out, you make your place in the world. But most importantly, what I enjoy about those games is exploring.
Oh yeah, and if you get a game that has a big enough world and that type of thing to use, it does end up being a fun game to play, and one that has replayability too.
Yeah, I think a strong example is Minecraft. One knows how many games were inspired by Minecraft to
Oh yeah,
become procedurally generated worlds.
oh yeah. You see them everywhere now. A lot of different games have that sort of concept to them. Even I think you can even look at games like oh, I had the right in front of my face when I was thinking about it. Um, the games where you start off with nothing and then build up from there and build your own type of house and structure and have to deal with
Oh
other
yes.
people. You know the type of games I'm talking about. Um, the name of course escapes me. Even though I watched somebody play it the other day. Uh, um, but
There's too many. I could recommend you a bunch, and it might still not hit the head.
right, and but those types of games, I guess you could trace them back to Minecraft.
That's generally what I think of. Before Minecraft, I don't know if there was really any particularly procedurally generated games. I can think of one or two really old ones.
Mm.
They, they're so old that I don't actually quite remember the name.
Yeah, and certainly none that would have the same type of perspective and game engine behind it. If they were that old, they'd be like turn-based type
Oh,
things.
there was one for the PS2. I do distinctly remember that was hallmarked as a procedural generation adventure game.
Mm.
Um, it wasn't that good though, to be quite honest.
It
The only one
tried.
I could think of is Daggerfall for Elder Scrolls. I believe their game is also procedurally generated, for better or worse.
Yeah, is RuneScape that type of thing?
I I don't believe so. Not
No.
since unless they added it. I recently. I would say recently. That's not quite true. I played it when I was like, was it like 10 years ago?
I think
So I don't know. Maybe.
I think RuneScape was around when I was a kid, and that's a long time ago. It was probably
Certainly, certainly.
that would be a long time ago before they even invented computers.
I don't remember. I don't remember if there's any procedural generation, but if they added it, that I wouldn't know.
Yeah, yeah,
Simple to say.
yeah. So, what other types of games do you like? I mean, you play all different types. What is your favorite type of game to play?
Well, as aforementioned, it's those survival games I kind of do have a soft spot for, mostly the adventuring kinds.
Yeah,
Don't care much for the whole permadeath and Iron Man
yeah,
that people enjoy.
yeah,
But I do like just exploring. I mean, just kind of like a Outer Wilds kind of
mm,
situation. You just explore. And that's the whole point of the game.
yeah, yeah. What about a game like RimWorld or something like that?
Ah, that's addicting for all too many reasons. It's one of those games you it's like Factorio.
Yeah,
You play it, you get stuck into the mechanics, and then that's it. You're gone for the next, I don't know, like week, 2 weeks.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Then you look at the clock and you're like, oh no, I haven't eaten anything.
Yeah, that's what happens. You get too involved in it, and then you're sitting at work, and all the stuff you're supposed to be working with is piling up on your desk while you're worrying about what you're supposed to do with your colony when you get back.
Oh,
Yeah.
tell me about it. I work at a tea shop when I'm not VTubing, and sometimes I'll just be brewing tons of tea. It is just me sitting there going, I should be paying attention to the tea ratios, but instead, here there I am, like, man, my colony could really use like more couches and TVs. They're not doing so good on entertainment.
I could relate to that sort of thing. Yeah. The that those types of games too, I think probably really translate well into an audience for a VTuber. Because people enjoy those
I think
games
so. I think
and
so.
they pick up tips, if nothing else.
Yeah, and if not that, I mean, the VTuber can also kind of like do their part to bring the audience into it. I mean, you could start having like redeems or other things where it's just like, oh, you could put yourself in the colony if you'd like, put your name in there,
Yeah.
try to have the VTuber do their best to try and take care of you,
Yeah.
as well as we know how that goes in RimWorld.
Yeah. And then kill them off.
Yeah, just like Cult of the Lamb.
Yeah,
It's like,
that's right.
whoops.
Yeah, and there's another game that's very addictive. I can imagine. I've managed to stay away from it, but it looks like if I got involved in it, it'd be two fists and three quarters of my brain into involved in. and that one.
Oh, that's just how it is.
Yeah, it just those games really bring you into it. Um, what have you enjoyed about VTubing so far? What's your favorite part?
So far, I suppose it's less. I know this is kind of less on VTubing and more on just streaming in general. It's kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to just be able to broadcast what you're doing to an audience and
Mm-hmm.
have an audience chime in or say their own piece.
Well,
You really find out who's experts for certain games. It's like no matter what game you play, there are always that one or two chatters who come in. They're like, "Yeah, I've been playing this game for 20 years." They tell you some secrets. You're just like, "What?
yeah,
Those are things?"
yep. And as long as it's not backseating it too much. I mean, you do
Oh
want.
no, it's less backseating. It's more like it's like those Nintendo secrets. You're playing game, and then someone goes, "Hey, if you push the truck and spin around 3 times, you'll glitch through the floor and you'll find this thing." And you're just like, "What? No, get out of here!"
Yeah,
But then you try it, and it's like, oh my goodness, yeah, that's a thing.
then you remember that for every other time you play the game. Make,
Yeah, and then this is just like that. They come and they go. They drop their wisdom, and it's just like, wow, that's crazy. And it's just that like interaction that's really awesome. That you just have people stopping by and dropping nuggets like that.
cool. Then, have you had any situations yet where someone's tried to get too much into your game while you're playing it?
Uh, I've had people get really excited, not so much that they want to get into my game, which is understandable. I've had to tell them to chill out. It's like I don't want no spoilers or
Right.
anything too much now, but I can also understand that they're understandably very excited and happy to see someone play like maybe a niche game that not many people play.
Oh, that's absolutely true. I know there's a couple of older games that I played strictly on the computer type of thing, and if I happen to be browsing through Twitch and see somebody playing that, I'm like, oh, what the heck? And I'll turn on just to see how they're doing it. But I always back
Yeah,
off and make sure that they're enjoying it for their first time whenever they're playing it. Um,
of course, but excitement's a hard thing to control, so I can understand. It's not validating. It's just like I understand,
yeah,
but it is very exciting to always see someone play a game that you've always enjoyed.
yeah. So what's it like for you realizing that your audience is could be anyone, anywhere, anybody holding a phone, anybody standing on the other side of the world is watching you doing what you're doing right now.
As I mentioned earlier, it's a crazy experience and it's awesome. Again, there's have about the nuggets, people coming and dropping nuggets of wisdom.
Mhm.
I've also, since I tend to stream at not American hours, despite being American,
Yeah.
you do run into a lot of people. I've had people from all over the globe come in and drop small like bits of info here and there, and it's really interesting because it kind of opens up your worldview at the same time.
Hmm.
You get people who come and share their cultural differences or what life is like or how they perceive and Americans, and it's just like, whoa, that's kind of cool that in such just such a small space you can get so much like cultural exchange and information from each other.
Oh, absolutely. I think I've learned. Yeah, I'm not totally, illiterate when it comes to other cultures. I don't think I am, but I certainly have learned a lot more once I started interviewing folks from all over the world with this particular podcast, and I learned more about a lot of countries out in the Asian area and Southeast Asia and the Pacific, certainly from this. And if nothing else, it certainly spreads some culture around.
Oh no, certainly. I thought I was pretty well adapted and knowledgeable about some cultures, but then it's just when I started YouTubing and streaming at, I don't know, like 2 in the morning till 5 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Hearing from people from basically India, Spain, and that part of the world, since that's the part that seems to be most active when I'm streaming, is pretty crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
I learned a lot about that side of the world.
Oh, yeah. And when I set up a stream with somebody in Australia, it's hard to remember that they're 18 hours ahead of me. I mean, this
Oh,
is
that's yeah. I have a few Australian friends. It's like
yeah,
whenever I talk to them, they're like, "Yeah, it's like 9 in the morning," and I'm like, "What? What do you
yeah,
mean it's 9?"
yeah.
Says, "Oh yeah, that's right, time zones."
When I ask him, I say, "Well, should I just go ahead and sleep the rest of the day because you know what's going to happen? I mean, you've already lived the day. I just
Yeah, I know. It's just like, all right, well, I'm off to bed. You're like, but I just started.
yeah. I just you just let me know what happens, whether I should just deal with this day or not. Okay, but it's really amazing.
Send me a text.
Yeah,
Did
text,
anything happen today?
yeah.
Is anything going to happen today? Let me know.
And no, okay, I'll stay home. the when you got
If only, if only.
Yeah, when you got started, how long did it take for you to establish some folks following you, and how has the audience built up for you?
This has been an interesting, weird answer since, as I mentioned, I kind of started off as a hobby.
Hmm.
I didn't really take it seriously until, like, say, 6 months ago. Before then, it was just kind of like whatever. I would stream when I felt like it. Well, some weeks I would stream one day, maybe next week I'd stream 5 days, and it was just very erratic. It was
Yeah,
just kind of like whenever I felt like it.
and it's really tough to
Uh,
keep something up when you have a what they call, I guess, a guerrilla schedule like that.
yeah, and I don't fault people for not following me or establishing anything because, hard to follow any streamer who's just like, when I feel like it. And
Yeah.
not only that, their schedule could be anywhere from, like, I don't know, 8 p.m. PDT till like 7 in the morning PDT is like such a broad window. You
Oh
have no
yeah.
idea when they're going to show up. They
Yeah.
just show up. And I do have a few people who stuck around since then. Now that I've kind of hunkered down and I was like, look, I told myself, look, I gotta make a proper schedule, at least something closer to something followable. And since then, it's been growing a lot faster. But
It's hard to get somebody to come back when they don't know when to come back.
yeah, it is. It is. The fact that I do have people who still will come back even after all that nonsense is props to them. That's amazing.
Yeah, but props go to you too. I mean, you really there, and no matter what type of game you're playing, whether it's a game that everybody else is playing, or it's a classic or a niche game that very few people do, they might come out one time to watch that game, but they come back the next time because they enjoyed you playing it, and
Oh yes.
it's your personality that brings them back.
Yeah, I mean, yes, you are correct. But it is also, it's a two-way street. Many props to me as it is to them because I'm nothing without the viewer kind of deal, right?
No,
So that at least that's how I see it, right?
no, it's not true.
It's not true. No, that's how I see it. For me, it's a two-way street. That's many props to them for coming back. Props to me, I suppose, for being entertaining enough for them to want to come back.
I'm kidding, of course, but it really, but it really is. I think that more people are starting to realize that, yeah, it's fun watching somebody play a game, but it's fun watching the person play the game. I can play the game myself
Oh,
if I wanted to, but it's
oh yes.
but it's the way you do it that brings
That
people back.
is that is actually one of the things I would have if there's anything that was particularly learned from VTubing as a whole, just like streaming in general. As time has gone by, I've learned, of course, as many would, they've learned more about what they were doing, and I've come to learn that people like to listen to the streamer talk more than really the game. The game is kind of just secondary at that point,
Right.
and it's more of a talk show between the streamer and the viewer.
Hmm.
Is something I've come to learn. And that's what people look forward to.
Yeah, it is. It is, and I think a lot of people learn how to balance it. Where there are parts in the game where the folks who are watching want to watch it too with you. As you go through a certain
Yeah,
area,
yeah.
they're waiting for something to jump scare you, and you scream out of your shorts. they're just
Oh,
they're just
have I
ready
done
for it.
that?
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure that happens to all the streamers. I think one sooner or later, but they're also rooting for you to do it. Whether they're rooting for you to do it correctly or incorrectly, that's up to
Yeah.
them. But it's the support is there, and it's got to feel good for you to know that you've got people who are going to come back time and again.
Oh yeah, absolutely. As I mentioned, back on that two-way street thing, yeah, of course I do, and I'm very thankful for any and all who managed to find my shenanigans entertaining and come back.
So what made you decide to put the pedal down and make it a little more serious for you a couple months ago?
Quite frankly, I don't really quite know myself. It's just analyzing everything I've done, and it's just maybe I should. With how many people were coming back, I did feel kind of bad just throwing them to the wind. Like I don't know, maybe we'll all be back like a couple hours. Maybe I'll back in 2 days. I don't know. I kind of feel bad about dragging people around like that. So if since there was a decent number of people who genuinely enjoyed watching me, I was just like, well, I think it's about time then perhaps to establish a more solid schedule so it's not just such a random shot in the dark to find out when I was streaming. You just had to sit there and wait for the Twitch notification to come up.
Yeah, yeah. And uh, since you've taken it a little more seriously, um, have you expanded your footprint? I mean, have you gone to these other things like YouTube, TikTok to try to do a little marketing for your channel?
I have. I do throw random clips out on YouTube and TikTok now and then. It's not like a real focus of mine.
Hmm.
I do have a few things to help me take care of that. It's just like I just basically make a handful of easy clips, and I have a program that helps me schedule and send them out, so I don't have to constantly be futzing over them. I just set up a schedule and it disperses them.
Yeah,
The advertisement does help. I do notice that at least for myself, it doesn't really bring people in, but it does get your name out there.
yeah, yeah. And if you do catch something, and so many people have a very short attention span these days sometimes, and you do catch them there, maybe they will come in and take a look and at least, you know, if nothing else, give you a follow and come back every once in a while, if not all the time, or word of mouth gets out there. Have you been able to
Yeah,
do
which
well with?
is more than what I can ask for.
Yeah, have you been able to do well with collaborations?
Collaborations, I don't typically seek them out too much. I do have a handful of friends I do collaborations with.
Hmm.
Um, I was it there was someone said once and about collaborations. I do kind of believe is that collaborations are great and they're awesome, but you also have to kind of be careful not to go too crazy with collaborations
Right.
because inevitably at the end of the day, the viewer is watching your channel for you and not for like say a collective of people or multiple people. I mean, maybe they can, but that's not the point of the first place, right?
Right. Right.
So
Yeah.
I
It,
have been kind of weary about that, and I've also just the games I play are not really multiplayer.
mhm,
I do tend to stray on the indie side and stranger side of video games, so
mm.
that's kind of been like my niche. It's hard to find collab partners when your game is released by a company of like 10 people, and people who you tell people about the game, they're like, "What is that?" It's just like, "Oh, well, it's game."
10 people, only two games of it have been made. You've got one of them.
Yeah, two game. There's two people who play it. There's like 10 devs, and it never ceases to be wild to me. I mean, even if it's a small company, when the dev comes out and it's just like, "Hey, thanks for playing and streaming my game," and I'm like, I'm just like a small streamer, man. I'm thankful too, but well, this is a little crazy.
It kind of makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up. They were watching me. I hope I did
Oh
it
yeah,
right.
I've had devs come into chat sometimes, and it's just like, oh my goodness, like, hello, dev. Oh my goodness.
Gee, that's customer service.
Yeah, that's crazy. But I don't hold back either. If the I do criticize points of the game. Not create. Was it not? What is it? Not terribly, of course. I try to be as constructive as possible, and
You
since
use
I've not made a game, I can't be too critical.
Yes, you use a feather rather than a sledgehammer when you do it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
You can't use that sledgehammer unless it's really that bad.
yeah, and there are
If it's
some
very obviously that bad.
there's some that are
Yeah,
that
there are
bad.
some. There are
Yeah,
some.
and if you're one of those folks who experiments and are looking for games to play, you're going to find one or two of them. Or they'll find
Uh,
you, one of the two. Not
Yeah,
much.
I've already stumbled a few really, really bad ones, and it's just like, man, I do hope they get better. I genuinely do hope they get better. But as for now, it's like, as for me, at this point in this juncture, I do not wish to play this game.
And you hit the erase.
Yeah,
I need that
it's
space.
gone from Steam Library.
I need that space for something else. Actually, anything else at this point. So, what have you got? Any big plans coming up here soon on your channel?
I apologize. What was that?
Have you got any big plans coming up on your channel here soon?
Big plans? No, I can't say there is any currently planned big plans.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to eventually move on to having big plans, but I'm not quite sure what those are at the moment. I'm in a pretty good spot.
Do you have plans to make big
I'm
plans?
a very simple person. I have plans to make big plans eventually, perhaps, but I'm just a simple person. I'm very happy with what I got, so
Yeah.
I'm not like constantly going out
Yeah.
and yearning for things, I suppose. But perhaps in due time.
Well, if something does hit and the number of followers goes up sharply because of something that's just happened to hit at the right time, what would you? Is there anything that you would like to try on your channel that you haven't done yet?
You think I like to try it? Well, collaborating more would be pretty nice. Within reason.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else I would like to do though? That's a good question. I'm afraid my brain is kind of drawing blanks when it comes to that. I kind of just feel like everything I do now, but bigger, I suppose.
Yeah.
That would just be the goal.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's tells me that you are doing exactly what you want, and and if you're doing what you want, that's good, and if you're enjoying yourself and you're successful at it, that's even better.
Exactly. I honestly, when it comes to big plans and that kind of like mindset, currently, theoretically speaking, if I jumped from like my current viewer count to say, I don't know, like say like I don't know, 3K, 4K or something,
Whoa.
I don't know if things would really change because I'm just kind of pleased with how the direction the things are going. I suppose with that point you'd have a more income, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'd be able to take all that income and recycle it back into my VTubing thing.
Yeah, you wouldn't.
And
You wouldn't
I think that would be ideal.
You wouldn't like faint or anything, would you?
I would certainly not. I would maybe not faint, but I would certainly be. What would be the right emotion? It would be elation and fearful because that's a lot of people.
So suddenly there's a lot of eyes looking at you.
Oh yeah, it goes along with another thing I was remembering is even if you don't have a lot of viewers, it's still a lot. Like even when you're starting out and just trying to get affiliate, right? You get like 2 or 3 people to your channel.
Yep.
Imagine 2 or 3 people just kind of intermittently coming in and out of your room. It's kind of crazy that already there's like 2 or 3 people just in your room, like watching you play games and chatting with you.
Yep, and you can't see them.
You kick it up to like say 5,000. That's a stadium. That's no longer a room. That is a stadium that you're entertaining people. And it's kind of daunting.
Oh, it is. It is, and that's when you just give up on reading the chat because it's going to go too fast anyway.
Oh, it's a blur.
Just call it blur rather than chat, and just go from there. But I think you got a really good mindset for this, and obviously, folks are coming back to watch and enjoy what you're doing. We're going to have the links for you in the description for this video. And Zeta, I really do appreciate you coming on. You let me know what's going.
And I do appreciate you having me.
You let me know if any of them big ideas land on you, and you got something big coming up. Okay.
The only thing that it's not really planned because I don't think this is going to happen. Is that there's those applications for VShojo currently going around.
Hey.
And everyone's been bugging me. They're like, "Hey, just go do it." I'm like, it's like, look, I know I can speak Japanese and all that stuff. I don't think they're going to take me. And they're just like, just do it. So it's like,
did you do it?
I'm not even going to give them a serious video, but
did you do it?
I don't know if I'll be even allowed to say. Not yet. I'll be doing it this week.
Ah, good.
Because it's coming up, I believe.
I always tell people, take your shot.
Always take the shot. It's true. I even say that. It's always take the. Only shots that make it are the ones you take, right? So
yeah, unless it was me, in which case, if I take it, it's guaranteed to miss.
Oh, come on. That sounds like me talking about it right now.
Hey, I was a terrible basketball player. I haven't made a basket since 1982. Yeah.
Oh, I can't make a basket when it's at a court, but I can make it when it's at those Dave and Buster's. Then I can do it.
There you go.
I don't know what's the difference, but I can do it when it's a Dave and Buster's.
At least you can win the bar bet anyway, if nothing else.
The bar bet, yeah. If you told me to go play basketball, that's troublesome. It's like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, like I can tell you, I started a game in 1982 to five baskets, and we're still tied at 3. So that'll tell you something.
Yeah, that right.
We both
there's no way. I mean, but just convince them. Hey, go to Dave and Buster's. We'll shoot some hoops there. Maybe you'll break the score then.
Well, obviously you're making the buckets you are right now, doing well in your channel, and I wish you all the best. You let us know what's going on, and we'll update everybody. Okay?
No, I appreciate this interview, and thank you for everything.
Thank you for listening to Eric Loy Interviews. Join us again next time when we talk to another member of the always interesting VTuber community.